Hello and welcome everyone to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill and I'm an e-recruiter here, and once again, welcome to this event. Let me go ahead and give you a couple of quick tips before we get started. If you would like to adjust your audio settings, you can do so in the lower left corner of your screen. Just click the audio settings button and make those adjustments as needed. If you would like to adjust the size of your window, click on View Options at the top portion of your screen and make those adjustments as you see fit. Also, we hope that you would like to engage with us tonight and go ahead and send us your questions throughout the event. You can do that by clicking the Q&A button at the lower portion of the screen. Send us your questions and you may get a response behind the scenes. We also will have a live question and answer session towards the end of this online event. Once again, my name is Ricky Hill and I'm an e-recruiter and engagement specialist here at UC Merced. We are thrilled that you could join us for this alumni panel for exciting careers that await you. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and hand things over and kick off this event with my great colleague, Brian.
Thank you, Ricky, so much. And good evening, everyone. We're thrilled that you are joining us for this. Information sharing is really what we're having the opportunity to do. And we're really excited to share about what our Bobcats do in their careers and where they go after they've had the opportunity of completing their education here at UC Merced. And so we're excited to kind of share both how we prepare students, but also the opportunity of hearing from a great group of our distinguished alumni who have also will be joining us this evening and sharing a little bit about their time at UC Merced, a little bit about their own growth in personal and professional development, and where are they now? And how did UC Merced help set them up for success in doing that? And so they'll be joining us in just a little bit, where we'll have a facilitated conversation with them. And by all means, they're also here to answer any questions that you may have for them as well. So we are looking forward to having that particular piece. So obviously, one of our goals after our students graduate is we love for them to see them kind of continue in a pathway that aligns with their interests and their passions, and really fulfilling kind of the goals of them pursuing their degree here at UC Merced. And so where that may take them, well, one of the things that we're really keen on is how do we help prepare students for what comes next? In a rapidly changing world, how are we utilizing their classroom experiences? How are they applying their experiences they might be having through jobs, internships, and being involved in different things on the campus? And how do we start to kind of really help students move those things and to carry with them into their life to do that? At Merced, we kind of take a little bit of a different approach to how we kind of look at these things. And one of the pieces that we really take a look at is looking at students holistically. And we look to see where are they developing these particular skills and experiences. Many of you are probably already developing skills, have developed skills through different co-curricular experiences, school experiences, life experiences that have helped you to learn about yourselves, learn about your communities, and maybe we'll get a little bit of insight into where your future may take you. One of the pieces that we hear that as we talk with prospective employers and folks that hire our students is they're looking for students who have leadership skills. And so one of the key components of our Office of Leadership Service and Career is really helping students to find their voice as a leader and kind of developing their journey as a leader. At UC Merced, we feel that leadership is a skill that is developed, and it's not just based on a position or a title, but that we lead from every chair, and that students are on their own personal journey around leadership. And so we engage students through opportunities to learn about themselves as leaders, to engage with and learn from leaders from all across the globe and across our nation that are engaging and sharing their experiences with our students. And they have opportunity also to see where their leadership intersects with their different identities, to really see what does it mean to be a leader as it kind of moves forward in those experiences. We also know that many students are already coming to us with experiences in the community, volunteer experiences, supporting areas and things in the community. And that's a huge part of what we also want our students to continue to do when they come here to UC Merced. Our data tells us that upwards of 60 to 65% of our students are engaged in some type of community engagement, community service in the time that they are enrolled as students here at UC Merced. We want them then to carry that into the future, whatever community that they're in after they graduate and move on. We want them to also have that civic duty and that civic responsibility of really helping to uplift and support communities in any way that that might be possible. And then we have the kind of the culmination of things of why we say leadership servicing careers, because we think of this as being part of that growth towards that career. And through our Student Center for Career and Professional Advancement, students have the opportunity of getting professional skills and experiences and developed in ways through whether it's on-campus jobs, whether it's through doing summer internships or undergraduate research experiences. But that opportunity to then couple that with, how does this make sense of where I want to go and where I plan to head in the future? So some of the ways that at Merced that we work with that is that integration between major and career. For some folks, they might come in and say, this is the career I want to do. Now, what major do I need to be able to get down that pathway? For other students, may come into their university experience and say, I want to study these things because I'm just curious and I'm naturally interested in these things. Where can it lead me toward? And as we work with you to kind of give you that exposure to help you make sense of what can I do with the major? What are some of those pathways that I can go into with the major that I'm pursuing? What might be some of the different types of jobs that I can do with a degree in this particular area, or a degree with this coupled with a minor in this particular piece? And oftentimes we have those conversations in really in one-on-one opportunities. That's one of the neat things about our campus is this really hands-on approach when it comes to your future. And you're gonna be having conversations where that's one-on-one coaching with professors and sharing from their experiences of where students have gone in their programs, hearing from our alumni that you'll hear from in a little bit, and them sharing their experiences about what they are doing now and how their degree prepared them to do that. We also want to get you connected with people that are out in the world. And we do this through a series of networking and recruiting events. We have hundreds of companies and organizations that come to campus on an annual basis that are there to meet our students, to learn about their experiences with the hopes of hiring them. And this runs everything from Fortune 500 companies to small startups, to nonprofit organizations, to government entities, to graduate programs that are coming and looking to offer opportunities for our students to continue their education after they graduate. But we believe about giving you exposure to those types of experiences and allowing you to kind of learn about your pathways and learn from people that are going to be recruiting those things. We have the professional mentoring component that talks where we have opportunities for our alumni to mentor our current students in those particular pieces. But we also know at some point it may come to actually having to apply for those positions. And so we walk you through resume critiques and preparing you for interviews in a virtual world. And what does it mean to do a Zoom interview or a Google Meet interview? And how do you prepare yourself for those types of experiences that we find ourselves in now? And then, of course, we offer large-scale events from career fairs where hundreds of employers are coming to meet with students, to conferences. We run a first-generation career conference where we bring leaders together from all different industries who are first in their families to attend college and are helping students who are similarly to that, talking about their career paths and how those things kind of may move forward for them in that particular piece. One of the nice things about the way that our campus operates is our size is to our advantage. Students have the opportunity of working directly with a career coach and a career mentor that is directly related to their academic program. And so if you are interested in pursuing something in the health or sciences area, you get to work with a career specialist that understands both what it is that you're studying, but also understands the job market and understands what career paths you're going into, because they're spending their time talking with you, but also talking with outside agencies and organizations. Maybe you're interested in management or economics or engineering. You have a dedicated person that you have the opportunity who's invested in your success to kind of help you figure out what path should I be on? What opportunities do I need to be pursuing at this point? Or should I do an undergraduate research experience? Should I do a summer internship? Where could I even do those? All the way through to kind of helping you with things at the end of that experience. How do I negotiate my salary? Or how do I weigh between multiple options that you might have in making the best decision to be able to help students to be able to do that? And so this is staff that are dedicated to helping with those types of experiences. We think about this and through the stages of getting you ready to do that. For some of our students, we know they might be coming into us with this opportunity of being exposed to new careers, new opportunities by studying things or getting introduced to new concepts, and where could this take me if I start to study in this particular field of this area? Where does applied math could take me? If I'm really interested in sustainability, where could a major or a career kind of lead me in terms of working in sustainability? What if I really want to become um, a real advocate for my community and make a difference in my community? Where can you do that? What can you study that will help you to do those things? The second phase we want then is to give you a chance to actually do hands-on experiences. This could be working in different projects. We run an investment lab where students are actually getting an opportunity to work with different accounts and managing different accounts and having to kind of see if they're making dividends, and you're there working with your faculty and outside folks to kind of help you think through how to make those things, the hands-on experience. To students get a chance to work on different projects. We had a group of students who worked on an actual mouth guard that when you bite down on it, it actually flosses your teeth as a way to really kind of improve overall dental health, because we know flossing is something that we always put off until the last minute before we go and see the dentist. But they've designed an actual piece that you can bite down and it automatically flosses your teeth to be able to do these things. But it was a group of students that had a business student on it that understood what price point will we have to sell this in order to be able to get it into every medicine cabinet in the world. You had a biology student that really understood what was happening within the mouth and how could that work for different people and different things. And then you also had an engineering student that was hands-on and helping to design a prototype for this and what materials would we need to be able to do that. And so that idea of even doing those things on campus, but also doing them things off campus. Students go out and do internship experiences all throughout California, all throughout the United States. And in a lot of cases, our students are pursuing these experiences in international experiences as well. Students might be doing undergraduate research with students in a lab and learning about different aspects of students. About 36% of our students are doing undergraduate research experiences during their time that they're here. All of these experiences that you're getting both in the class, but also outside the classroom, our goal is to help you to be able to tell your story, and doing that through your interviews and how do you talk about these experiences in your cover letters and your resumes to be able to do that. And then we also want to see you help making that transition into the workplace. And so how do you start to find out about how do I, what's my first day in a job going to be like? How do I start to, what do I wear to work? And how do I get prepared for those types of things? And so the whole idea of across all of these stages, we kind of meet you where you are and have resources and services to be able to do that. Even on the idea of what to wear, our campus has a professional clothing closet where students can rent a business suit, men's and women's business suits, for free for up to 5 days, where if they don't have a suit and they need to go to a conference or to an interview or to do a class presentation, we don't care. We just want them to have access to those types of resources so they're not pursuing those types of experiences because of something that maybe was going to hold them back. I mentioned that practical and applied experiences, and one of the things that you'll hear from some of our panelists and our alumni is that opportunity of actually doing internships. And internships do two things. One is it's oftentimes students will come back from an internship and they'll sit down in my office and I can see it on their face. I'm like, how did it go? And they're like, Brian, it's not what I want to do. It's not what I thought it was going to be. And we congratulate them and saying, great, now you know, let's figure out what something else might be that you want to do. But also that opportunity to kind of get those real world experiences. The one student that's on the slide you're seeing did an internship recently at the San Francisco airport. And what she was studying is the runoff on the runways. And so when it would rain and all the runways, you have rubber and you have fuel and you have all of these elements that get built up over time on those runways as planes are constantly going up and down. But when it rains, that water washes off of those runways and goes into the groundwater. Well, what happens to that water that has those contaminants in it? And how do we start to kind of look at those particular pieces that mitigate some of those things? To the students in the other picture, you have the opportunity of doing internships in the summer through our partnership with Yosemite National Park. And students are actually having the opportunity to get hands-on experiences in the park where they're applying whatever their major is. If they're interested in becoming an educator, they could be working in one of the centers where they're actually designing programs and services for guests and visitors for children that educate them about different aspects of the park. They might be making different kind of arts and craft experiences during their time they're visiting the park. To students that are working on, they're doing search and rescue in the park and kind of understanding how that medical piece and that component of doing a search and rescue experience and having an opportunity to go out on those types of missions with the park rangers to be able to do that. Oftentimes our student or the interns are the ones that are greeting you if you go into the national park. They're the ones that are there in the summer greeting you and making sure that they're providing that hospitality to the guests of the park and the opportunity to do those things. But all of these are just a small sampling of those types of experiences that we work really hard to kind of create for our students to be able to complete during their time with us at UC Merced. We also have seen an increase, and we've really been promoting opportunities of micro internships. While most internships seem like they might take 3 months, it could be in the summer for the summer months. We also have a lot of students that are participating in really short-term projects. These may be no longer than 40 hours. Some might be 5 hours that students are applying for, and they're doing these internships, these micro internships for companies and organizations all throughout the world. And they have the opportunity of getting paid experiences by going through and completing these short-term experiences. Sometimes they just need some data crunched. And students who are really good at doing the numbers and crunching some of that data might be able to do that project for 5 hours, and they're being compensated with $1,000 payment for that type of service that they're providing. And so students are building that skill while maybe they're on their semester break, or while they're actually enrolled and taking classes. They've got additional time to hop on and take one or more of these particular experiences where they're deepening their experience and enhancing their particular skills. The next thought I want to kind of share with you are just a small sampling of some of the organizations that actively recruit on our campus. And when I say they recruit on campus, not only do they come to the campus and talk with students, but we also require them to do some type of an experience, whether that's helping students prepare for resumes or preparing for interviews. The company Bear that's on this list just this week had a virtual career trek for our students. We had over 165 students participate in a virtual trek where the folks at Bear were able to talk with them about the different career paths that you can pursue if you go into kind of the biotech and the biomedical area. They had the opportunity of doing a video that showed them and walked them through the space to see what it would look like if they were to go and work there. They had the opportunity of learning from different staff who was, they had a whole panel around staff who were first generation that kind of talked about their experiences, or students that or employees that identified under Latinx. They had an opportunity to have a panel to discuss about what it means in their field and bringing that identity into the workplace. Google just about 2 weeks ago, ran a series of boot camps for our students where they had the opportunity of actually participating virtually and working on using linear algebra to kind of solve different problems that the Google employees had kind of put in front of them. And they had 2-hour boot camps where they were working through these projects and working through these programs and getting this hands-on experience of seeing how do you apply math in these kinds of ways. And how are they using math in these particular kinds of ways? And how are organizations using these different types of algorithms to do things? And our students were walking away from this and going, now I get how Netflix works. When I click on something, then they send me something else. It's a similar thing. It's an algorithm, it's algebra, it's all that math that's being applied in these kinds of ways. And our students were getting a chance to hands-on learn some of those types of experiences through our partnership with these different organizations to do these things. When you're in Merced, there's also ample opportunities to get involved, to volunteer, to work part-time, or even to do local internship experiences. And here's just some of the organizations where our students are engaging and working while they're here. Out at Castle Air Museum is one of the logos on here. And what's a really neat program where this is a museum of all of these retired aircraft that are in where people can go and visit with them, but they retrieve these aircraft, and students are actually getting a chance to restore them. And they're learning about the aircraft, and they're getting a history lesson about that aircraft while they're also learning about the aerospace industry. They're getting a chance to weld things and get a chance to kind of figure out how to kind of reconstruct and restaurate a lot of these different planes, but they're getting hands-on experiences. They're getting an amazing history lesson. And what we're seeing is a lot of those students that are leveraging this experience and are ending up getting offers from some of the top aerospace companies because of some of these experiences that they've had and where they've applied their learning about aerospace into these type of working environments. And so not only through the volunteer work that students are doing, we've had students that have been doing online tutoring and supporting the students in the K through 12 program here at UC in Merced, in the city of Merced. And they've been doing after hours and online tutoring with students since all of our students are learning remotely, and they've been kind of engaging with the schools in those particular types of ways to kind of help kind of our young folks to be able to do these types of things. And so even as you're studying and earning and working towards your degree, there's also opportunities to volunteer at our health center. In our medical center here in the hospital, students volunteer in our emergency room, where they have the opportunity of doing 4-hour shifts where they're providing comfort to patients that are coming into that environment, but they're getting firsthand experience of seeing the operations and how an emergency room has an opportunity to operate as they start to use that to maybe think about applying for something in the health field or the public health field. This is just a small sampling of the intentionality in which at UC Merced we work with students, regardless of your area of study. We want you to have that opportunity of knowing where you want to go next. We love having you here with us. We love having the opportunity to engage and work with you. But we also want to see you graduate. And when we see you graduate, we want you to see you graduate and move on to where it is that you want to go next and feel like that we've prepared you and you've prepared yourself to be able to seamlessly move into those types of opportunities to be able to do that. As a point of emphasis around that, at this point, I'd like to transition and get you actually an opportunity to hear from some of our alumni who have made this transition and hear from their own experiences and stories. So with that, I'm going to turn over to our moderator for this portion. She's our interim director of alumni relations, a tremendous colleague and a wonderful advocate of our alumni and our student success. JJ, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Brian. I really appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Thank you all again for joining us. My name is JJ Julian, and I'm an alumna of UC Merced from the class of 2010. At this time, I'd like to invite our alumni to turn their cameras on. And while they do so, I want to share that I am currently the interim director of alumni relations and the Office of Alumni Relations. My colleagues and I work together to identify opportunities to connect students to a growing network of over 12,000 UC Merced alumni and growing. And so we do so by inviting them to various types of events, such as networking sessions or alumni panels, such as this. We also do traditional events like homecoming and workshops that our employers may be hosting through Brian's office, like Google that Brian had mentioned earlier. And so I'm so excited to be joined today by 3 UC Merced alumni who will speak to their experiences during and beyond UC Merced. So at this time, I will have our alumni introduce themselves. So if you all could share your name, major, graduating year, your current title, organization, and then your hometown. And so we'll start with Adriana.
Hi, everyone. Thank you guys for having me again. My name is Adriana. I majored in management. I graduated in 2015. Currently, I'm working as a tax staff professional for Ernst & Young here in the Bay Area.
Can you share your hometown as well?
Oh, hometown would be Farmersville, tiny little town in the middle of California.
Nathan?
Awesome, everyone. So thank you so much for having me. My name is Nathan Weezar. I graduated from UC Merced in 2019 with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and Engineering. I'm currently an IT associate in software development working with React and Firebase down there in San Diego Gas and Electric. I was previously with SoCal Gas, just transitioned to this new opportunity about a couple weeks ago, coming up on a month now. And of course, SoCal Gas is over here in downtown Los Angeles, very close to my hometown, which was West Covina, California.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brenda Yu, and I majored in biological sciences and psychology during my undergrad. I graduated also in 2019, and I'm currently a PhD student in biophysics at Stanford University, researching in nanotech and drug delivery. And I am from Merced, California.
Thank you all. So just so that the audience can learn more about you, could you each share your experience at UC Merced and your journey after? And then we'll start with, we'll go in the same order. So Adriana, if you can start us off.
Sure. So my experience at UC Merced, I was one of those overachievers where I was involved in multiple organizations. At one point, I was working 3 on-campus jobs. So I was definitely involved, and at the same time, making sure that I was meeting all of the, the good grades that I needed. But basically, all of those different roles taught me how to multitask, and which is so important in the real world. Because especially working as a tax professional, I'm working with multiple clients, having multiple deadlines. So being able to just balance so many things on one plate has been huge. And I started practicing that since freshman year.
Nathan?
Awesome, awesome. Oh, so my journey at the campus, right? Not peculiarly the traditional one. So walked in undeclared. And so really didn't have a niche and didn't understand really what I wanted to do, right? I knew that I was in an opportunity to try a bunch of different things, to see kind of what classes I liked, to see what psychology was about, right? See what sociology was about, see what, mathematics was about. And so I ended up settling down the summer going into my second year because I took a computer science course over the summer, actually. And so ended up falling absolutely in love with it. From that point on, I kind of made it a point of emphasis to go ahead and follow that track. Since then, it's been a lot of involvement like Adriana around the campus. It was working as well for the campus, trying to come up with these kind of new solutions, trying to make myself as well-rounded as possible, and then transition, of course, into a professional opportunity shortly after school. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit about the track that I took. Definitely could advocate for going undeclared. Definitely, guys, it's okay if you're not too sure exactly yet. And so, yeah, I can go ahead and pass the baton over to Brenda.
Awesome. My journey actually started in community college. So I was community college transferred from Modesto Junior College. And so entering UC Merced, I kind of already knew what I wanted to major in, which is in biological sciences. However, I was really stuck between doing pre-med or research. And UC Merced gave me a lot of opportunities to explore both paths. I also had a lot of chances to be involved on campus, just like Adriana and Nathan. I was also extremely involved. I also worked 3 jobs during my time at UC Merced as well. And I think all those experiences really led me to my current decision to attend graduate school, because it really gave me the time management skills and the leadership and communication skills that I learned during undergrad to really excel in my program now. And that's kind of what helped me decided that I wanted to pursue research as my path for now. And that kind of helped me decide between pre-med and research. Yeah.
And I know we'll have a few more questions to kind of learn more about, the opportunities that you all took advantage of. But this is quite a big question. And so I hope you all could answer this, but why did you choose to attend UC Merced? And so we'll start with Brenda, if you could share kind of your choice and why UC Merced.
Yeah, so I tell people this story all the time. The reason why I chose UC Merced was because I still remember attending Preview Day, which is a signature event in October that is usually held just to give students a chance to visit UC Merced before you apply, before the application deadline in the fall. And I remember attending Preview Day when I was still trying to figure out which school I wanted to transfer to. And I remember meeting like just the staff on campus. I remember meeting Brian Obruba that day as well, and just getting to talk to the staff members and the students and seeing how excited they are about the campus. And that was really why I chose to attend UC Merced, because of the people in the community. Other reasons, of course, I am from Merced, California, and so it was perfect because I wanted to be close to home, as well as attend a university where I will be able to give back to my community. And those two are my top reasons why I chose UC Merced.
Awesome, guys. So definitely love sharing this story to anybody who asks, right? And I'm so glad that this was one of the panelist questions as well, because why UC Merced? Well, it was a very, very hard decision for me. I've always been very close to home, grew up very, very family oriented. And so I knew that I wanted to go, right? Here in West Covina, California, you have Cal State Fullerton down the street. You have Cal Poly Pomona that's about 5 minutes away, right? And so those ideally were the places I wanted to go. And so was able to get accepted to those opportunities, also got accepted to UC Merced. And so I kind of really looked at the point of where I was in my life, and I kind of realized, okay, well, I have an opportunity to, still be at home, still learn, do all the things that I want to do, or I can go somewhere else, get a new kind of grip and experience of what it's like to go outside of, Southern California and just become rich with this experience. And it's definitely everything I could have asked for and more, right? So for me, it was personally more of the personal growth and the maturity level that I wanted to achieve, the fact that, hey, I want to be able to say that I left my house, right? I achieved a bit of greatness and I did something for myself. And that was exactly what I got by attending UC Merced.
So for me, I had been accepted to either Humboldt, which was going to be 9 hours north, or to San Marcos. Both were CSUs. UC Merced was the only one that I kind of, and I wasn't like too interested in going because it was only an hour and a half away. But after reviewing financially, it made sense. Plus, being first generation and saying, well, I'm not sure if I want to go too far away from my family. So that's another reason. And then, but really what drove the message to like picking UC Merced was the fact that it was a pioneer school. I'd have the chance to leave my mark, to make events, to create organizations if none were on campus, and just make the impact that I wanted to have for myself.
Yeah, so I just want to speak to that a little bit. Like when I attended UC Merced, I was the early years when it was opening up, and then you each, even though we all graduated during different times, like I feel that all of that is still very much true, that we can still create student orgs today, that we can still be close to the community, the faculty or staff on campus, and have that tie. And that was definitely something that attracted me to UC Merced, is like how can I do something different, especially when I wanted to start anew from high school, right? Like how can I do something different and lead differently? So thank you all for sharing that. Adriana, you touched a little bit on that first generation experience, and so most of our students, there's a high population of first generation students that attend UC Merced. And so if each of you can share, like, what does that mean to you to be a first generation college student? And most importantly, what does that mean for your family to attend a higher institution? And then we'll have Nathan, if you'd like to start.
Of course, JJ. Thank you. And beautifully phrased question, right? What exactly does being first generation mean to me? And I can tell you a very cliche, it means everything, right? I still remember early days of, going to go help my dad on the weekends, right? Cleaning up these banquet halls, putting chairs away, putting tables away, and just thinking like, this is definitely, struggle in the moment, but it doesn't have to be for long, at least for myself, right? I have an opportunity to where I want to be great, not only for myself, but for the others around me, right? So I always carried this sense of pride and a little bit of weight on my back. And of course, the experience it's very humbling as well, right? Because you growing up, it's very different. Getting help from homework is very, very different. It's almost non-existent, pretty much once you get past a certain, point in school. And so it's a lot of figuring things out by yourself, right? But it's things that the ones before you have also done as well. They figured it out. They figured out a way to get here, a way to be successful, a way to, put a kid through school and kind of, let the dice roll on that perspective. And so it's definitely been very nice. There's points where, even though I'm established now, I do software development, graduated with my degree, I get a little taste of it still. I have my full-time position. I'm here working at home. And there'll be times where my mom and my grandma and my tias are outside the door, laughing and causing a commotion and stuff like that while I'm right in the middle of, showing a piece of software, talking about development and things of that nature. So I still get a little taste of, that kind of what it means to grow up from that and rise from that. And I can just say that it's extremely, extremely humbling now from the outside looking in, to where I can say, against adversity, against kind of odds, here we are and we're doing it. And it's something that I think that, is not peculiar to just me, not peculiar to just Brenda or Adriana. Those of you that are in the audience listening to this, it's a very same track that you guys can follow as well. And so definitely rooting for everybody out there.
For me, I am also a first generation college student. And what it means is that I get to pave a path for my brother. So my little brother is actually in UC Merced right now. I think he's a sophomore. And I was able to kind of pave the way for him, as in like encounter all these hardships that Nathan has mentioned. Of course, being a first generation student is definitely really hard. My parents obviously like aren't able to help me with the application process or with the struggles that I encounter in college. But it also means that I get to help out my family and create a better, I guess, future for them, and also I guess like inspire them to like I don't know, pursue a future. I don't know. Sorry, this is like kind of an emotional question for me because yeah. Moving on. Anyway, but it means a lot to me to me and my family to be able to attend UC Merced because I was also from a low income family, and they were really worried about how they were going to support my education. And obviously, like working throughout UC Merced, I was able to support that as well as get funding through financial aid. And I think the financial aid package at UC Merced was really helpful for me. And so I guess attending UC Merced and being able to graduate from there really means a lot to my family because as a first generation college student, you don't really get that support and you feel lost a lot of the times. But being able to attend a campus where all of my peers are going through the same thing as me has really helped me a lot, and the staff has also been really supportive as well. Yeah, so it means everything to I guess be a first generation college student, being able to graduate from UC Merced as well.
Yeah, I think Nathan and Brenda really have said a lot to this. It definitely means a lot to my family. I mean, I remember my graduation, like cousins that I don't even remember seeing had to like come in, and it was like a historical moment for my family because I was the first one to do this. It was definitely difficult. And at times they didn't fully understand or could relate to the stress. But they knew that I was doing it for a reason. And it was to it was to bring everyone ahead and show like my step siblings like it can be done. And now they're like, I want to be a dentist, I want to be a doctor, all these other things, because at least one of us has done it. Now it gave them confidence to move forward and try to do it themselves.
You all said it beautifully. I too am first generation, and so I resonate with everything that you all are saying, and I can understand that this could be an emotional question. So thank you for sharing that. I think, and this is just something to share that since a lot of students who attend UC Merced are identified as first generation, our alumni reflect that same trait. And so I also just want to share that our alumni, like Brenda, Adriana, and Nathan, who are here tonight, is open to sharing their experiences and tips because of that first generation experience. So even if you don't identify as first generation, there might be some experiences that you'll encounter in college where you may not be able to navigate. So I think it speaks volume to the commitment and dedication that our alumni have to pave the way for you all and to share tips and experiences that we can help you become successful. So thank you all. So we'll delve a little into each of you mentioned a few of these things. So I'll bring it to Adrienne for this one, but on student involvement, you mentioned like starting clubs and such. So what kind of extracurricular activities did you get involved with during your undergrad, and how has those skills helped you in your professional career?
So three things that come to mind. One would be the campus activities board. And my job as a student activities and events intern for Enrique Guzman, who's still there and who's still doing a fabulous job. He was my mentor throughout college, and we still keep in touch till this day. That, as well as my involvement in Alpha Kappa Psi, it's a co-ed business fraternity. Those I am still doing today, in the sense that I'm working for a global firm that employs over 300,000 people. And I'm working for one of their offices here in San Francisco, but tying in both the business perspective in looking at taxes and how companies, corporations, partnerships, how they operate, but also on the downside, in my downtime, I get to volunteer and I actually organize our social events. So I've been tying both of those, and I've kept those all along, not just for this company, but also for the company that I worked before, to where I've managed to partner with a women in fintech organization, and where we had people come from all over the Bay Area to listen in and not only just connect with each other, but hear more about like mortgage, hard money lending, and just what's going on in the real estate and tech world. Now, being in tax, it's a little different, but nonetheless, like the key concepts are all the same: being able to communicate, time manage, um, just to speak up and make myself aware to the people that are around me, and those things are truly what enabled me to have even more opportunities. So it started since freshman year, and it's continued. So I definitely have to do a shout out to my mentor. I believe he's watching.
Yeah, thank you. And yes, Enrique is here. Hey Enrique. um, Thank you for sharing that. So we'll go, Nathan. I know prior to this event, you kind of shared that you had some experiences on and off campus. And so I want to ask, like, what traits do you find to be essential to be successful in college and in the workforce? And so, like, what experiences did you take advantage of on and off campus?
Awesome. Awesome, JJ. So thank you for that. I would first like to say that although school may seem like it's a sprint from time to time, right? It's next week is this midterm, this Tuesday I have this assignment due, and you're always keeping up with these kind of deadlines. And I always joke and say, right, having a regular job is fine. You know, being in school, you're in a job 24/7. It doesn't stop for weekends, it doesn't stop for holidays. It does stop for holidays, but assignments do eventually pick back up, and things of that nature. So it might feel like a sprint. But it's very important to realize that it's really a marathon that you're preparing for, right? And I say that because I had that mentality very early on when joining the campus. Freshman year, I went ahead and interned over at the mechatronics lab, which is the MESA lab that Brian was speaking on earlier, right? Doing everything from robotics to mechanical engineering to computer science engineering. So that was very early on freshman year. And it's because the campus is growing and you're growing with it, is you get to use these opportunities, right? Professors are always saying, hey, who's interested in this lab? And, it's not a lot of heavy population going through those. And so you have the opportunity to speak up. You have the chance to say, hey, why don't I, right? Why don't I try this? And along those lines, guys, I really want to stress my favorite really thing to think about is that good luck is really just a residue of design, right? The more you put yourself in situations and the more you try this, the more you try that, the more the desired outcome is going to go your way. Of course, sometimes it won't, but the more you put yourself in those situations, the more it will. And I'll kind of expand on that a little more, right? So I take you guys to my freshman year. Now I'm a sophomore, second year in school. I went ahead and joined, the Kappa Sigma fraternity. Went ahead and joined Ingenieros Unidos, which is a very, very great engineering club for whatever area of engineering that you're in down at the campus. I was fortunate that summer transitioning into my third year to work for the Students First Center, where I interfaced with Ricky for the first time. She was my manager there at that position. And so you can see I'm starting to now juggle a lot of things on my plate, starting to do this, starting to do that. And trying to just apply myself, right? Trying to ask these questions, what more can I do? How do I prepare myself for, the outside world? And it's really to just be as well-rounded as you can be. Don't exactly be focused on or stressed out on, I have to pass this class with an A. Of course you do, of course, but also understand that you have to apply yourself outside of the course. Do something that shows that you understand the material, right? If it's something that you're very passionate about. And so fast forwarding into, going from third to my fourth year, I end up going to attend a conference that's very, very well advertised by the Ingenieros Unidos, which is HENAC. And that's over here in Pasadena, California. And so there it's a lot of, mechanical, aerospace, civil, computer science engineers. End up joining one of the teams on one of the events that they have, and I end up winning a competition for Verizon. Right, they end up extending an opportunity for me to come and intern for them for Enterprise Solutions in Ashburn, Virginia, that summer. And so, like I said, guys, it's a lot of just applying yourself in these different situations. A lot of the times, if you ask those questions and if you're ready to kind of, put the weight on your shoulders, good things will come your way. Ricky and I had a great opportunity of delivering a mobile app to the Students First Center. And that was all just a conversation. That was a, hey, you do computer science. What do you know about this? Well, I don't know much, but, I can definitely start applying myself right now. And fast forward a year later, that project came to fruition. It came to life. It was in the App Store. we celebrated that achievement. And so that was my #1 point of contact, right? As soon as I started interviewing with these different companies, hey, you know, we love what you did in school. We love that you know algorithms. We love that you know data structures. What else did you do? And I had a lot to talk about. And so I'll kind of wrap up that whole thought bubble, guys. I know you're probably tired of hearing me talk, but just again, recognize that it's more of a marathon, although it very much feels like a sprint all the time.
Thanks, Nathan. And so this question goes to Brenda. So like what unique experiences during your undergrad led you to apply to graduate school? Again, you touched on this at the beginning, but what unique experiences were there? And then how did UC Merced prepare you for grad school?
Yeah, thank you, JJ. So just like Adriana and Nathan said, in undergrad, I had a lot of opportunities to be involved with multiple different fields at UC Merced. So although I majored in biological sciences, I had the opportunity to be involved with projects outside of just biology. For example, I was really involved with engineering service learning, which is a service learning based class. And we are a group of students where we get to work directly with a community partner in Merced, and we create a project for them. So it's both an engineering project / a leadership project. And that experience really helped me understand that I really love working with a community partner and coming up with projects out of like just an idea. And additionally, another experience that I had at UC Merced was being able to do undergraduate research. I had the opportunity to start researching freshman second semester. And that was very unique because at other universities that are much larger than UC Merced, most of the time freshmen don't get to have the chance to research in a lab until maybe they're like junior or senior year. And so definitely that opportunity at UC Merced really helped me a lot in my, I guess, journey to graduate school. So being able to conduct laboratory work for, I guess, 3.5 years throughout my undergrad was really helpful in helping me learn what my interests were in research. I had the opportunity to work with several amazing faculty members across microbiology, chemistry, and physics. And that helped me kind of narrow down what my research interest was. And that also kind of helped me decide whether I wanted to go towards medical school or graduate school. Another experience that I had was I had the opportunity to be involved with lots of leadership opportunities on campus. I was really involved with student organizations. I started a club. And I also worked in the Office of Student Life as an intern for 3 years, and also under Enrique Guzman and Jim Greenwood. And that opportunity helped me basically get a chance to learn about experiences outside of science. So what if I wanted to, I don't know, work in marketing and communications, something completely different than what I was majoring in. And so those unique experiences kind of cumulatively helped me, led me to apply to graduate school because I realized that I really love working on projects, particularly science projects. And going to graduate school was kind of like the answer for me because I didn't want to go straight to the workforce yet. I really wanted to get more education in my specific field, which my interests are in nanotechnology and drug delivery. And I guess I sort of touched on the second question, how the UC Merced prepared me for the program was basically I had a lot of support from staff and mentors here on campus. And one particular resource that was really helpful for me was the Undergraduate Research Opportunity Center. Jorge Arroyo, who has been a mentor for me since freshman year, has helped me, connected me to different faculty members on campus to learn more about laboratory research, connect me to internships. I had the opportunity to work at the Lawrence Livermore Berkeley National Lab. And so that was a really cool experience. Additionally, I also had a chance to work at Kaiser Permanente, thanks to the Career Center as well. And that was, all those experiences have really prepared me for graduate school.
I love that you all brought up, the experiences that you had in and outside of the classroom and how those experiences and how those connections had led to where you currently are today. So thank you all for sharing that. At this time, I would like to open questions from the audience. So if you all have any questions for our amazing panel, feel free to drop them in the Q&A option down tool at the bottom. And so this came in. So and you all are welcome to answer it. So what's the most valuable thing that you learned from going to UC Merced?
I guess I can take that question first. The most valuable thing is time management. In undergrad, I worked jobs and took many classes and also did research and was involved on campus. And obviously with all those activities, it requires a lot of time management. And that skill has definitely helped me a lot now in graduate school, because like what Nathan mentioned earlier, graduate school is a lot like it's a marathon, not a sprint. And that is definitely like very true. And yeah, time management is definitely one of the most valuable skills I've learned.
Just to add to that, aside from time management, which is so crucial, I would say how to communicate and just not being afraid to ask questions and knowing that it's okay not to know everything. You're not always expected to know everything, and that's how, you grow. So that was what I learned.
Gotcha, gotcha. And so to kind of put the cherry on top of that question, I will say the most valuable thing I learned was how to cook, right? I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. That was definitely one of them. But I would say that the most valuable thing the campus taught me was to just take advantage of opportunities, right? A lot of the times things can go your way, things will not go your way. Unfortunately, guys, that's just the life that we live, right? But just every opportunity that you have in front of you, don't be afraid to take it. Don't be afraid to, just say, hey, I'll bite off more than I can chew on this time, and kind of just put myself to the test. So it was a lot of that for me at the time at the university.
Another question just came through, and you all mentioned this, that some of you were working multiple jobs. So what jobs are available on campus? Can you each kind of speak to that and what you've seen and what you've participated in?
I can start it off. During my time, I had multiple jobs. One that was consistent was working for the Office of Student of Life, which was an awesome job. If you can, hopefully, COVID passes and everyone is back on campus. But it gives you the opportunity to, well, my role in particular was to create either educational or just social events for the students. Other jobs that I had were, or let me back up. So other departments that OSL also has, they can be related to women empowerment. They can be with regard to Greek life. There's a whole list of departments that you can choose to be involved in. Aside from that, I was also able to be a mentor to first year students. And during the summer, I was also an orientation leader. So if anyone does summer school, well, that would be really hard to do. But if you want to stay in Merced because you love it so much, that is definitely something you can do. There's also some great staff members that help facilitate that whole program during the summer.
Okay. This is another question here. So was it difficult transitioning from high school to college? So for those who are attending or in high school, what was that transition like for you?
I think the transition from high school to, I guess for me, to community college and then to college was that in high school, everything's kind of set in blocks. You don't have to really, I guess, plan out your day because it's already planned for you. But in college, you have the freedom to plan how your classes want to go. So for example, I am not a morning person. And so the way that in undergrad, I picked classes was anything that was after 10 a.m. And that's kind of like how I plan my day. And you get a lot of freedom in college. And so for me, the transition from high school to college was actually very smooth and very positive experience, because I finally had the chance to kind of take on what I wanted to do and kind of organize my schedule based on what I would like rather than what the high school like kind of preset for me.
Awesome, Brenda. No, yeah, great point there. And I really want to echo that sentiment, guys. And as well, add the addition of, I think it's a mentality thing as well, right? Because you figure that you're going from high school to, university, you have people that are, anywhere from 18 years old to 21. And so I left the house. I went 5 hours away. I was 18, and I love telling people the story because I left really thinking, like I was a little kid, and the way I thought, that the way I perceived problems, and the way I kind of went about work and stuff, maybe wasn't at the point that it was and that it needed to be. And so all that to say that when you get here, right, when you get to university, it's very unstructured, right? There's nobody telling you, hey, do this, or hey, do that. You have this assignment due in this day. It's all up to you, and it's all on your plate. And so definitely get ready for kind of the unstructuredness. The freedom is great, but be sure to have great amounts of self-accountability as well.
This question, so Jalen asked, are there art sciences that any of you have taken that you apply to your life now? And so I know some art sciences classes could likely be classes within our social sciences, humanity, and arts. So if you all had taken those classes, can you kind of share your experience on that?
Are these classes that fall within the Shaw? Okay. Um, so a couple of cool classes that I got to take were with regard to psychology, like positive psychology was one of them. Child psychology was another. Um, there's also a human sexuality class, which was pretty interesting. And it just gives you a different perspective, and you get to think about things that you weren't even aware of. But in regards to like more of the arts, I did get to take a really cool multimedia class, where they teach you different techniques of how to make art, not just with like grafting or printing, but you got to be hands-on, and that was kind of like my fun class. I still actually have one of my pieces. It's framed. Another cool class is one of the colonial archaeological classes that I took. But basically, we got to look at fossils and study colonialism and how people migrated, like in the 1700s. There's definitely a lot of cool classes you get to take. So I would definitely read your catalogs and check them out.
I know we're coming short on time here. This question is for Brenda. So Brenda mentioned about creating her own club. So which club was it, and what drove her to creating that club?
Yeah, I'll quickly answer this question. I started Distinguished Young Women, which is now called Distinguished Young Individuals. And I wanted to start that club because I wanted to provide scholarships to aspiring young women in Merced and the surrounding areas to attend college. And that was basically my reason. And so that was my first thing that I wanted to do when I got to UC Merced, because I participated in a similar mentorship/scholarship experience before I went into community college. And so I wanted to make sure that other aspiring girls had the opportunity to attend college, whether it was financially or like through mentorship support.
Thanks, Brenda. So this will be our final question. And really quickly, if our panel could share like one piece of advice that you would share to those interested in attending to UC Merced, what would that advice be? And then afterwards, we'll have Ricky come back on to join us. And we'll start with Adriana. Sorry about that.
My best advice is choose what works for you. For me, I didn't realize that UC Merced was a blessing in disguise. It was small, which was perfect for me because I was coming from a small town. It was close to home because I knew I was going to be homesick. But although it may not be as attractive as, say another campus that has, tons of years of history, at UC Merced, you really get to make your mark. You get to do what you want. And if you don't have something, you can go to like the Office of Student of Life and say, hey, there's this event that I would really like to do. And the staff will most likely be behind you, like, yeah, absolutely, let's have that. Um, and academically, the professors really do care. Like they will even extend their office hours for you if you're still not understanding, a topic. In general, the people care there. They really do. They want you to succeed. It's definitely, you're not just a number there. They truly want to make sure that you're successful and that you're happy.
Definitely. Thank you, Adriana, for that. And so for my final piece of advice, guys, it's just really to, it's funny, it's going to be very cliche. And I've found out the more I grow in age, the more these cliches start to really, speak out to me, and the more truth that they are. But the one I'll leave you guys with is to just really, reach for the stars, because if you're going to fall down, it's going to be a cloud to save you right there. And so, just definitely go in with a positive attitude wherever it may be in your campus decision, in your very early adult decisions. Just have a positive attitude, try something, see what you like, see what you don't like. Don't be afraid of the opportunity. Instead, make the opportunity afraid of you. And so good luck to everybody.
My final piece of advice is to keep an open mind and try new things. I wouldn't get to where I am today if I hadn't kept an open mind and tried things that I never thought I would try before.
Trying new things will definitely get you to places that you never thought about, make friends with people that you would never have met if you hadn't taken that opportunity, and also help you grow a lot. And that advice has personally helped me a lot to get to where I am today.
Okay, with that, I just want to give a special thank you to our panelists for joining us and for sharing your experiences. I am going to hand it off to Ricky to kind of close us out.
Thank you so much, JJ. I have to just be completely transparent and honest. This panel has been amazing, and it always is amazing for our alumni to come back and just to share their experience, not only at UC Merced as a student, but also all of the life experience that they've had, be that from a year ago graduating or 10 years ago graduating. So I know I speak on behalf of all of my professional colleagues that are on with us. We really owe you a huge debt of gratitude, and we're so thankful that you're here with us. Not to gush, but that is just true transparency and honesty. We really appreciate your support tonight. So once again, my name is Ricky Hill, and I'm an e-recruiter here, and we thank our audience as well for joining us. We do have a couple of updates that we would like to share with you. This event actually has been part of a larger campaign we've been doing since October, and we also have many more events happening through the month of November, which is quickly sneaking up on us here towards the end of November. So a couple more events that we do have. One is on November 24th, and the other is on the 30th of this month. They will be going from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And both of those events are actually last minute question opportunities for you. They are a couple hours long each, and it is specifically for the University of California admissions application. It is very critical that you make a note on your calendar or on a Post-it note to remember that application for all UC campuses, the deadline for that is 11:59 p.m. on November 30th. So very important date if you are interested in trying to apply for admissions to come either to UC Merced or any of our sister campuses. Once again, I would like to just offer again a big thank you to all of our panelists, Adriana, Brenda, and Nathan, as well as all of my professional colleagues that have been on with us tonight, both behind the scenes as well as presenting and moderating. So JJ, Brian, and Adam, thank all three of you so much for joining us. On behalf of all of my colleagues and these great panelists, thank you so much. If you would like more information on those upcoming events, take a look at our website, admissions.ucmerced.edu/discover. Once again, it's admissions.ucmerced.edu/discover. Thank you so much for joining us.